100 to the x power equals 1/10 to the x minus 3. Right, so again, no common base, right? Of course, we like to start off easy to show you the breaks, but then, you're going to have to use some of your current or prior knowledge. We've got 100 and 1/10. What could the common base be between those two? Right, 10. Right, it is 10. Okay, 100 is 10 to what power? Right, 2, right? 10 times 10, yeah. 10 to the 100, 10 to the 10th power would be like a trillion. I don't even know. 10 zeros, what is that? A lot. More than a billion. In between a billion and a trillion. So 10 squared to the x power. Right, and 1/10, you got to remember a rule, right? It's a fraction. How do we get a fraction? What kind of exponent is going to give us a fraction? I know you know. Come on, think about what flips the fraction. Right, what gives you the reciprocal? You're right. What does the exponent have to be to give you that? Who said that? Right. Negative, right? It's a negative number, right? And since it's 10, that means it's just going to be negative 1, right? If it was 1 over 100, it would be negative 2. Okay, so this would be 10 to the negative 1. And again, if you think you know, you can always check it here, right? 10 squared, 100. Okay, 10 to the negative 1. That gives me a decimal, but remember, use math frac, and there you go, 1 over 10. Okay, so you always can use the calculator to just try to figure it out if you're not totally sure. Right now, we can do it exactly the same as the last one. Okay, once we found, I just want to put some fraction ones in there to remind you. We just bring this down. 2 times x is 2x. And negative 1 times x minus 3. Right, I would distribute this. Negative 1 times x, I always do negative 1, okay? I wouldn't just put negative x because I like the numbers to be there so I don't miss it. Okay, negative times negative gives me positive 3. Good. So I've got 2x equals negative 1x plus 3. And I'm going to add my 1x. And then divide by 3. Also, remember, I haven't showed y'all this on every other one, but we can always check our answer. If I get x equals 1, then I can try it. 100 to the 1 power is 100. Okay. And then 1/10 to the 1 minus 3 also should give me 100. If I get the right answer, both sides will be the same. They'll be equal to the same thing. Okay, so that's how you know you've done it correctly. Any questions on this one? No. Right, okay, I'm going to write myself a little note here, okay? Negative flips the fraction. Right, I just like to make notes like, how did I get that? That way I'll remember, oh, okay. We've already had that in our notes, but just learning something one time doesn't necessarily mean you're going to remember it forever, right? So put a little note there so that when you look back, you'll say, oh yeah, all right, now I know why I did that. Okay, I need y'all to do this one on your own, okay? I'll get you started, but you want to do this one on your own. 16 to the x plus 7 equals 1/4 to the 5x. And notice with these fractions, I put them in parentheses. It's because with the fractions and the exponents, it can get a little bit confusing what goes where. You know what I mean? You might think that this is just 1x minus 3 goes on top of the fraction or something. So that's why we put it in parentheses so that it's easier to see. That's the exponent for the whole fraction. All right, so we've got 16 and 1/4. Right, 4. right? What's another base? I would use 4 because it's going to be the easiest. What's another one that you could use for 16 and 1/4? All right. 2. 8 doesn't go into 4, right? Could be 2. This is 2 to the 4th power. This is 2 to the -2. But if we use 4, it's a little bit easier. It'll be smaller numbers, okay? 16 is 4 to what power? 4 squared, right? 4 squared to the x plus 7. And 1/4 is 4 to what power? -1, okay? It's real similar to the one we just had, okay? So we're going to just take our exponents, multiply them, and I want you to do this one on your own. And I'm going to come check them. Be careful on this one, okay, when you move